maybe come on and say a few words, because I know that many people know this lady, but we've been very fortunate to become friends with her over the past year and a half or so. Someone who we had respected from afar for a long time, but now having a chance to even get to know how real and genuine she is and perfectly in alignment, I would like to ask Dr. Northrup, if you wouldn't mind just kind of sharing a few words before we get started and sharing with people what the membership's all about, that would be great.
Right. So I met Danielle and Mark on the lawn of a favorite restaurant and noticed that they were the only ones who were not wearing a mask from the car to the picnic table, because you all know that is a dangerous little stretch there of 10 feet from your car to the picnic table. And then they knew who I was, turns out. And when we had our first meeting back in the day when we were afraid of getting arrested for having more than two people together, they came to my house and they told me they were in marketing. And when they showed me about this membership, I was very familiar with Robert Kiyosaki, because back when I went through my divorce, I realized that I knew nothing about finances and I had to become financially literate fast so I wouldn't lose the house. And so I learned about the cash flow quadrant when they showed me a video of Kiyosaki saying, "This is God's money." I realized, wow, I understood residual income. I understood being a business or an investor as opposed to a employee or self-employed. So over on the left hand of the cash flow quadrant, you pay the most in taxes and you work the hardest. And over on the right, owning a business, being an investor, that's the difference. Like he said, the wealthy and people who are middle class or poor do not think different. They think opposite. So I had spent a lot of years becoming financially literate. And right now, as I'm watching the fiat dollar lose its value quickly, it's the petrodollar, and it's all connected to the globalists and all that, I just knew, all right, I got to get my hands on gold and silver as quickly as possible. So I did what Danielle and Mark did, which is, let's just get some stuff from APMEX. You can go right online, buy gold and silver from APMEX. I had no idea what I was doing. I said, all right, I got a big, heavy silver bar somewhere. But then when I began to learn about this opportunity, and particularly the numismatic collectible coins, which at first I thought, oh God, I don't want to do this, but I could bury them in my backyard and, maybe someday they'll be worth something. But I kept at it and realized that this was the hedge that pretty much everyone needs to get through this bridge that we're going over now into a new way of doing things with humanity. We may get to the point where there's no currency, probably sometime after I have made my transition to another planet. I do think we're going there. But for right now, this is something that, even a hard sell. I've got a friend who's really old money. His great-grandfather did the Trans-Canada Railroad. And when I told him, hey, if I were you, I'd get some silver, and even he got it. Oh, okay. If I had some silver dollars, I could exchange that within a small community and get by. What the other thing that I found is this community here, the people who have been drawn to this are actually my people. Generally, you are people who are self-starters, independent, and freedom-oriented. And so this turns out to be the right kind of high-vibe soul tribe that I'm interested in being around. So that's my story, and I've been I'd like to get the word out to as many people as possible, because knowing about this and then not sharing it, when right now there's probably going to be the petrodollar will go away. I'm hoping that we have something else coming down the pike. I know right now, this very moment, the banks are in some kind of a transition. So anyway, I'm glad that you're here on this call, and then you can learn about this. And I also want you to get over your denial. Your denial about what's going on financially is their protection. and we don't want any denial or cognitive dissonance. You can get into action, do something that could help you, but not from a place of fear, from a place of knowledge. All right.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chris, for sharing. And we so appreciate you and your courage, especially over the last 2 years. You are a divine